Hi, this is a recorded lecture for the IB-DP Design Technology. This is topic A3.1, and we're looking at chemical properties, and this is design in theory. And this is SL content. Again, our inquiry focus is how do material properties and classifications aid material selection for a specified manufacturing process or products. The IB wants you to know that chemical properties include aspects of materials that lead to it chemically reacting with another. Students must be able to explain corrosion resistance, reactivity, hygroscopy, and flammability. So first of all, what is a chemical property? A chemical property is a property of a material that only becomes evident during or after a chemical reaction. Please watch this video. This is a video of some chemists putting potassium into water and then talking about how reactive potassium is. So it's a pretty interesting video. When we think of chemical properties, we need to think of the fact that all chemicals are made out of atoms, and atoms have different properties. So for instance, in this column of the periodic table, you have very reactive atoms or metals: lithium, sodium, potassium. Potassium is the most reactive metal. Over here, you've got the halogens. These are the most reactive gases. Fluorine is the most reactive gas. So if you were to put fluorine and potassium together, you would get quite a chemical reaction. These are the noble gases. These have no reaction. And so you need to pay attention to the periodic table, but also when we're talking about the chemical properties of different materials, we need to focus on the fact that most materials that we interact with are not elemental. They are molecular, and so we need to pay attention to those properties of the molecules that they are made out of. So just a quick chemistry lesson. If you remember that when we're forming ionic bonds, and this is just sort of the easiest way to understand how atoms form bonds, atoms like to have full rings in their electron orbits. And so when potassium is in its elemental form, it's got this extra electron right here in its outer ring, and it wants to get rid of that. And this is fluorine right here, and fluorine would love to pick up an extra electron. And so potassium will donate an electron to fluorine to complete its ring, and then this will allow potassium to have a complete set of rings. We need to think about corrosion resistance. So this is the ability of a material to withstand damage caused by oxidation or other chemical reactions. This is rust on iron, and so this is corrosion. And it's important to understand that corrosion can be a huge problem, especially when you have metals that are exposed to environments that would cause them to corrode. So this might be marine environments, this might be environments that are out in the open. So we need to pay attention to the materials that we choose if we need to protect against corrosion. So this is an example of a corrosion resistant metal. This is stainless steel. Copper is a corrosion resistant metal also. This is a picture of the Statue of Liberty from 1886. It's been colorized, but the Statue of Liberty used to be copper colored, and then it's developed a patina over time. This video shows you that whole process and gives you some understanding of the properties of copper. Reactivity, or we're talking about food safety here, is a chemical property of a material that represents the extent to which a material will react with another, including air, to become unsafe for use when it comes into contact with food. This is a great video. It shows you how food contact materials are considered, and this gentleman right here is a scientist who works with different materials that come into contact with food. So please have a watch of that. This is another video that is about microplastics. It's really good, so have a watch of this video also. Hygroscopy is a chemical property of a material that has the ability to absorb moisture from the surrounding environment. So Orbeez are an example of this. So these little beads right here, there are 50,000 of them in this bottle right here. And you can see that when they absorb water, they look like this. Diapers are another example of a chemical that has good hygroscopy and will absorb water. The opposite of something that will absorb water is something that is hydrophobic. This is not one of our design vocabulary terms that you need to know, but it's just kind of fun to understand it. So hydrophobic means, hydro means water and phobic means fear of. And so hydrophobic substances tend to repel or fail to mix with water. And of course, the cinnamon challenge, please watch this video if you want to just kind of laugh at some interesting people doing the cinnamon challenge. This is a video about the science of the cinnamon challenge. So again, have a watch of that. Flammability is a measure of how quickly a material can be ignited and how quickly it will burn. There are all kinds of regulations on, especially anything that has to do with children, about flammability. And this is something to be aware of, that when we're choosing materials, especially if they're going to be in some sort of environment where they could possibly catch on fire, you need to follow the regulations for whatever country you're in. Or one of the best is to follow the EU regulations, because they tend to be the most strict around the world. This is again some flammability of different substances produced by Purell, so some different products. So this is hand sanitizer and surface sanitizer, Lysol disinfectant spray, SaniGuard sanitizing spray. So these are all ratings for whether they are flammable or not, these different liquids. If you have a volatile gas that comes off of a liquid like acetone, it can be quite flammable. Gasoline is also like this. So flammability can be considered in terms of, for instance, the volatile gases, but also there are also some powders which are incredibly flammable. So for instance, this is a video of a grain storage that exploded after collapsing and caught on fire. And you wouldn't think grain would do that, but the dust, which is essentially flour from the grain, caught on fire. You also have to consider this when we're talking about sawdust. Sawdust can also be quite flammable. Thank you for watching.